Hello. Really nice to see all of you here this evening. So, we're going to be talking about holographic repatterning, and basically what I'll be doing is telling you what holographic repatterning is all about and doing some demonstrations, just to give you an idea of what it is, how it works. And usually a question that arises, hi everybody,
hi.
Just get a chair wherever you can. And are there enough chairs? I think there's one chair here, and one chair right here. You can take that off, whatever it is. And maybe you can take
back of you.
Oh, yes, there you go. All right.
I think there's a couple chairs in the back here.
It's fine.
Oh, there's one, and someone can sit up on the table here. There's a couple here.
And after this, everybody will sit on the floor. Good. So one of the first questions that people ask is how did you develop this and who are you? So I'll spend about 10 seconds telling you that part before we get into holographic repatterning. Basically, I've been in this healing field for 24, 25 years and have been driven, like many of us, to study every healing system that I could lay my hands on. I was always looking for the panacea, aren't we all? What is the great ultimate way to help people heal themselves and heal other people? And so everything I studied was wonderful, but I could never understand why does it work on this person but not on that person? Why do you suddenly get the miracle cure here but not with this other person in another situation? So it always kept me on with my search for what is the common denominator that allows us to heal. And so on the way, I've had wonderful, wonderful teachers and studied many books and gone to many seminars. And I think I've just seen places on the way where it all began to fall into place. And one of those was when I actually studied educational kinesiology, and which is a lovely system used principally with children in education, very beautiful. And that gave me the concept that you could go through a process to find out what needed to shift, and then when you'd done what you thought would make it shift, check to see if it had shifted. So suddenly I had a way of putting together all the knowledge that I'd drawn together over the years. I said, so I need to check what is needed, do it, and see if it's changed it. And so that in a way was the beginning of pulling this material together. And then of course studying sound work with Sherry Edwards, and acupuncture of course was phenomenal. And what was the final piece? Holographic Universe. That book is worth reading by Michael Talbot. And that was the moment where I suddenly saw what I was doing, was working with holograms. And as soon as that piece of the puzzle fell into place, suddenly the work just happened. People began phoning me up and wanting me to come and teach here, there and everywhere. Last year I taught almost every weekend of the year. Every now and again I take a weekend off to fly to India. But so it's been quite amazing traveling around the country, and now I'm going to Europe, England and Switzerland, and possibilities of Australia, Canada, and it's just simply happening. And it's quite miraculous watching what happens, because people come to these workshops who don't know what holographic repatterning is. They've never received a session, and somebody phoned them up from Timbuktu and said, go and study this, and they said yes. And they phoned me up and said, she told me 8 words, something said do it, and I'm here. And they often will come one day before the workshop. 2 people are flying in from San Francisco, and they phoned me up yesterday, and they said, we feel that we're meant to be there. Where can we go? And I said, Albuquerque. And they said, okay. And they don't know why they're going there or coming here. So it's really, and I was in England 2 weeks ago, and one woman took a bus 600 miles from Scotland saying, I don't want to go, I don't know what this is, and I'm going anyway. And she had no idea why she was coming. And the beauty is, after the workshop, you know why you had to be there. So I always tell the organizers, you don't have to worry about organizing this, because the people who are meant to be at the workshop, they'll be there. You can't stop yourself if you're meant to be there, and if you're not meant to be there, you won't be here. Okay, so it's great having you all here. And of course, Alice came from New York, Another one, who was a friend of a friend, phoned up and said, I think you should do this. She said yes, and flew from New York on no money. So it's just very exciting watching this and passing it on. The beauty of this work is that you can do it on yourself. And I suppose the whole thing that's driven me in my life is, what can we do to help people to have a sense of control back in their lives, where we can work on ourselves for any problem. If you're a runner, what can I do so that I can run more perfectly, more in rhythm, more in balance? If I have a health problem, if I have a relationship problem, if I'm running a business, that I wanted a system that could be applied across the board in any sphere of our lives that could bring about the transformation that we're all wanting. In a simple way, there's only one prerequisite for this course, which is you do need to know how to read. That's the only thing. Last week in Phoenix, there was a lady here with a blind dog, a seeing eye dog. She could see the books if they're 1 inch from her eyes. And she was just so excited. She keeps phoning me up and my sister up every 2-3 days saying, this is incredible, I'm doing it and it's working. So it's, as long as you can see enough to read, you can do this. Because I put it in such a way that anybody can do it. If you can read and follow directions, you can do it, and you will see the changes that happen. Okay, so you don't have to be a psychotherapist. You don't have to be anything important. It can be anything, anybody who simply wants transformation in your life. So where do we begin? Where do I begin? I always have my little cards here just to kind of give me an idea of where we're beginning. All right, so what is holographic repatterning? That's always a nice place to begin. What is holographic repatterning? It's a 6-step process that allows us to access unconscious patterns, energy constrictions that keep us in limitation, whatever that limitation may be. That's what holographic repatterning is about. And I opened a book by Richard Bandler. He was one of the people who developed NLP. And I opened the book out, and he had a wonderful sentence, which I just love. He said, if you know the structure of a thing, you can change it. You know, it's in the introduction. And I thought, oh, that is it. If you know the structure of a thing, you can change it. Most of us don't know the structure of our limitations. If you have migraine headaches, we don't know the structure of what is holding my migraine headaches in place. If we have a relationship problem, what is the structure that holds that relationship problem in place? It has to have a structure. Why don't we know the structure? Because it's unconscious. The structure of any problem we have, any issue we have, anything that's bothering us in our life is our unconscious patterns and our energy constrictions. That is the structure that holds any problem that we have in place. So, if that is the case, all we need to know, we need to have a system that helps us find out what that structure is. Once we have the structure, we can then find out what we need to do to change it. And that's really what holographic repatterning is about. It gives us a system for finding out the structure of any particular thing and shifting it on through. All right? Give you a few examples of this. And of course, the tool for accessing the unconscious mind is muscle checking. Is anybody here who doesn't know what muscle checking is? Everybody knows. All right. So muscle checking, just in case there's anybody who ever watches this video who doesn't know what muscle checking is literally every muscle in the body, all 900 of them, it can be checked for strength or for weakness. Strength or weakness. If our muscles are strong, we can move. If our muscles are weak, we can't move, we can't lift, we can't carry. So every muscle has that quality or that characteristic of being strengthened, strong or weak. And we use that with the muscle checking to access the unconscious mind, to find out what strengthens us, what weakens us. And I'll be demonstrating that as we go along. So, just a few examples here. I was working on a woman that I'd never met, and she had electrodes all she was hooked up in every part of her brain to electrodes on a biofeedback machine. And the only thing I knew about her was that she'd had 3 car accidents and she was brain damaged. So somebody comes in like this with this kind of issue, and we were going to do a 6-step process to see what changes could we get with this lady. What could we do with this holographic repatterning that nothing so far had been able to touch? She'd gone through hundreds of psychotherapists, psychiatrists, and many, many, many alternative health systems, and nothing was moving things on through for her, or moving it through, but to a limited degree. So we had her hooked up to the electrodes, and I'd simply muscle check, and I do the muscle checking on myself, and of course we'll be teaching people in the workshop how to do it on yourself one-handed, so you can do it very, very quickly. You can check, I'm just checking on the strength or the weakness of my index finger muscle. So give me a strong response, it's strong when I press on it. Give me a weak response and it goes down. Give me a strong response, weak response. So then with this muscle checking, and then you're able to access the field, and I'll be talking more about this later on, to find out what is holding the structure of her brain damage in place. And it became very clear what was going on with her, and I muscle checked where the brain damage was, and it was on this right cerebral hemisphere and in the back of the brain. And afterwards, of course, the biofeedback lady said that was exactly where the brain damage was. Muscle checked what it was, because the brain produces frequencies, it produces brain waves. So I muscle checked exactly, it's all in the books, which brain wave was not being produced in those parts of the brain. And the back of the brain, it was an alpha brain wave, was not being produced. Can't remember what it was in the front. And later on, the biofeedback lady said that's exactly right. She's not producing any alpha here. She showed us the pictures on the television screen of the back of the brain. There's a black spot, no alpha being produced. And then we proceeded to go into the holographic repatterning 6-step process. And it's literally step by step, 6 steps, and you just muscle check where you need to go and what information you need to bring to the surface. What do we need to make conscious of this structure in order to change it? And the first thing that came up was an issue around her father, who was completely controlling on her life. I can't remember all the details, it just simply went step by step into her process, but it was very clear it was an energy constriction in what we call the fire chakra, which relates to the head. So she had no sense of control in her life. Her father controlled her life, and car accidents were controlling her life. She was always the victim, sitting at the red light and someone crashes into her. So she was continuing to have no control and have others have control of her life. Here's the head, it's the great control system of the whole body, mind. Hi there. And it was not, she was not in control. It was brain damaged. So if you want to sit on the floor, you're welcome, okay? Run out of chairs, I think, at this point. Is there one? There's one at the back there, if you want to squeeze around.
There's 2, yeah.
There are 2, if you want to. Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right, don't worry. So, we came to the end of the session, and it came to the particular healing modality she needed, and it was a very simple little healing modality. It was a tuning fork right here. And when you put the tuning fork here, you can feel the vibrations going throughout your whole body. She needed 1 tuning fork twice on the sphenoid part. This part here, it helps to access the sphenoid. It's used in craniosacral work. And we just placed it here and did it twice. And later on, when we looked at the television, at the screen, at the exact moment, during the whole of the 5 steps that preceded, the brain waves were shifting dramatically. She said it was almost like they were becoming fluid. Something was opening up. But at the moment that we were finally ready, when the system said yes to a healing modality, at that moment, alpha was produced in the back of the brain. Yeah, it happened. And she said, look at there, the pictures. I have to study this. So, very exciting. And of course it was true, and she felt the difference. When we did this, she said it was like things were being pulled forward in her brain. She said, I felt like a yanking sensation from the back of my brain to the front of my brain, which were the 2 places that were brain damaged. So it's wonderful. You can get some very dramatic results with this. I mean, I always tell people, we're not medical practitioners. We're not psychotherapists. What we're working with is frequencies. And sometimes you'll have people coming in with physical problems, and I had a man who had blood pressure. It was 210 over 160. And his aorta 6 months earlier had exploded. And they saved his life by about 1 minute, the surgeon said. If you 1 minute later, you'd been dead. And they put in a new aorta and everything was fine and dandy. He was alive. But 6 months later, his blood pressure was exactly what it had been when the aorta exploded. And they could not bring it down with any medication. So he came in, very straight businessman, didn't really want to know what I did. Just said, do it. So I said, fine. He had 2 sessions. After the second session, he went back to his doctor, and he phoned me up and said, I won't be coming back to you anymore. And I said, oh. And he said, my blood pressure is normal. And my doctor now wants to put me on an exercise program. So I don't need you anymore. I said, fine. That's all he wanted, is blood pressure down. So he wasn't interested in all the other aspects of his life. For him, that was enough. But when people come in with a physical problem, we don't deal with labels, we don't deal with sickness. We're not interested in that. It was not my fault that his blood pressure came down. Okay? That was just a side effect of shifting frequencies. So we have no concern with physical ills, physical symptoms. That's in the range of the medical practitioner who deals with symptoms. For us, in holographic repatterning, all we're interested in are frequencies. Frequencies. What are frequencies? Okay. So, let's go back a little bit to Pythagoras 2,500 years ago, who said a rock is frozen music. And Pythagoras was miraculous, besides being the father of mathematics and all sorts of other things. He could play chords and completely shift people's thinking, behavior, actions. And there are all sorts of famous stories about Pythagoras, a man coming in to stab a judge who had, been given him a bad reading. Of course, Eric's a lawyer here. He'd given him a bad, whatever it is you give in the law courts in those days, and he wanted to kill him, and Pythagoras simply played a chord and the man became unconscious, fainted. And he would play chords to his followers, his students, to give them certain dreams at night. He would play certain chords in the morning in order for them to have a particular experience during their day. He was using frequencies of sound. And then David Bowen, who is a modern-day physicist, says a stone is frozen light. So what we're hearing here is the ancients of China, of course. Acupuncture is based on frequencies. India, the ancient Ayurvedic knowledge, is based on an understanding of the energy systems of the chakras, which are light and sound. And all of this ancient knowledge is being brought into the present in the language of science through modern physics. So it's very exciting because modern physics has finally proved that God exists. Isn't that wonderful? Because they reach at the end of wherever they reach, they come to a belief in God, which is very exciting. So what they're doing is we're in an age where we want to have a scientific language, and modern physics is giving it to us. And they're really tying together this ancient knowledge and bringing it into a format that we can all understand and use. So it's kind of exciting seeing what's going on. And so I love the work of Dr. Hans Jenny, particularly a Swiss scientist. And he took metal plates and put inert objects on them, sand, dust, things like that, and then played different sounds through these metal plates. And every sound he played would create a different form in the sand or the dust. So this inert clump of dust or sand suddenly vibrated into beautiful forms, all the forms found in nature. He could create through making these different sounds pass through the metal plate. And for those of you who haven't read the article that I've written, Dr. Guy Manners took this and he phoned up Jodrell Bank in England, the great observatory, and said, please will you send me a recording of the Crab Nebulae in outer space? And they sent a recording of it. That's what observatories do. They can send you pictures and sounds and all the rest of it. And so he fixed up the same thing, and he played this recording of the Crab Nebulae through onto the metal plate, and immediately the sand vibrated into the shape of the Crab Nebulae. Isn't that amazing? Just amazing. So what are we getting here with this? It is very deep. What we're really beginning to see is that sound or light, they're just vibrations, create the form. And this form can only hold its shape so long as you have the sound or the light vibrating through it. Switch off the sound and the form clumps back into inert matter. Of course we know this. When the sound and the light, this inner energy, is removed from us at death, what happens to this body? It clumps back into inert energy, into inert matter. The only reason why this physical body is alive and vital is because there is a vibration passing through it that makes it vibrate into a particular shape. Take that vibration away, the shape goes. So if you have a bad liver, a sick liver, it means that the sound is off. It's not holding, it's not able to hold the shape of a healthy liver. And Deepak Chopra talks about that in his books and says that they took the sound of a healthy man's liver, amped it up, and played it to an unhealthy man's liver, and made the unhealthy man's liver get healthier. As a result, I don't know if it got completely cured, but they were able to shift the form of the unhealthy man's liver by playing the sound of a healthy man's liver to it. It's all about sound and light are creating the form. So what is this form? This is the form of our bodies and our organs. It's the form of our relationships. It's the form of our work. It's the form of our ideals. Any kind of form that we want to take, if it's not in the form that is totally symmetrical and harmonious and balanced and bringing us energy and light and life and love and unity and harmony and balance, if that form is off, are you going to try and get that inert sand to move, or are you going to shift the sound? The sound, the vibration, is what creates the form. So in holographic repatterning, we don't have to concern ourselves with inert sand. We concern ourselves with the frequency that creates the form in that sand. Any questions so far? Just as I go, anything that you want to ask, please just put your hand up. Yes?
How can the change be permanent? I mean, do you have to keep the sound going all the time, or how do you?
Yes. Okay. What happens? I think in holographic repatterning, you okay? Oh, the question is how do we keep the form permanent? Once you've got the form that's right, how do you keep it permanent? It's the sound frequency that will keep that form in good shape. So, if we've been doing something where we've lost the form in our liver, then the sound has gone off. The sound has lost its, let's say it's the note of A, ah, in a particular note, and it's now going, ah. You're not going to get a perfect liver. If a perfect liver wants the sound of ah, and your sound is now ah, the liver, that organ is going to be affected by that. So our concern is to bring the sound back to what it's meant to be. And then it will maintain that so long as we do those things that support the sound being its optimal sound. But if we eat lousy foods and junk foods and we never exercise and we have negative thoughts and we're always angry and always upset, there are certain very definite things that we do to make our sounds lose their optimal frequency, their optimal waveform, their pattern. And as soon as we shift that on through, then, and that actually gets us to holographic repatterning, because what happens in our childhood is there are certain events that happened in our life, and we had certain responses to those events. We call them survival responses. And we also, our energy responded to those events in certain ways. Let's say the energy became constricted. You were really frightened about something. Energy constricts. We have a survival response to that event, and what those survival patterns, the survival response and the energy constriction, is what makes the sound lose its optimal pattern, its optimal frequency. As we move through those unconscious patterns, as we move through those energy constrictions, the sound can now come back to its optimal form or its optimal pattern, and create the form that can hold its form. It can hold the form. So that's really what we're about, is moving through the unconscious patterns that create the sound or stop the sound from being at its optimal level. Yeah. Yes.
We're surrounded by sound. Does sound that occurs willy-nilly in our environment affect us adversely?
Yes, so does the sound that we hear constantly affect us? Absolutely. These are very powerful vibrations, and it's very difficult to get silence in this day and age. Aeroplanes and televisions and radios, it has an incredibly powerful effect on us. And I'm just reading a wonderful book that I recommend everybody to read by a Frenchman, Resonance, who wrote Let There Be Light. And he was blind from the age of 8. And he tuned into the power of sound and said that he could actually see energies, he could see colors and lights, and he could completely read someone's character by the sound of their voice. In fact, they used him in the French Resistance in the Second World War to recruit people for the resistance movement, because he could absolutely read you completely through the sound of your voice. He knew exactly what was happening to you through the sound that we bring out. And what he said was that people didn't realize how destructive sound was. Having background music, cars, these sounds have an incredible effect on our field, this body-mind field. Now, as we get strong, and I'll go through this little thing here on holograms in a moment, as we clear through our patterns and we no longer resonate at that level, then my feeling is it has less effect on us. So people say, well, how do you protect yourself from negative energy? And I say the best way to protect yourself is not to resonate with it. If we resonate with the negative, we will be affected by it. If someone makes me angry, it's because I resonate with that. If I don't resonate, if I keep my energy field or my sound, light, whatever we want to call this, if I resonate at a different frequency, nothing will ever make me angry. The only reason someone can make me angry is if I resonate with that. If I pick up on negative energy, I resonate with it. If I pick up on negative sounds, on some level, I resonate at that level and can be affected by it. If you lift the frequencies up, by again moving through, clearing unconscious patterns, energy constrictions, you no longer resonate at that octave, can no longer affect you. So let's go a little bit into the holographic repatterning model, because it is based on holograms. And just, you've all got your little sheet here on, this is just gives you a baseline for how holograms are made. So I'll just, first of all, before going into how holograms are applied to us in our healing process, I just want to just go through how holograms are made. So you have a pure source of light, one frequency called a laser. It hits a beam splitter, and one beam comes down from number 3 here, passes through a diffusing lens, which spreads that beam out over what we call A here, which is, let's call it the apple. This is the thing we want to photograph at A. So it could be a car, it could be a person, it could be anything you want, but we'll call it an apple. So we now have this beam reflecting off the apple onto a holographic plate, and it creates wave patterns, as though you've thrown a stone into still water. Okay, just wave patterns. Don't see an apple in this at all. Just wave patterns. The second beam passes through the beam splitter, reflects off a couple of mirrors, also passes through a diffusing lens which spreads that light out, passes through a polarizing lens which we'll leave out for the moment, and it too reflects onto the holographic plate and creates wave patterns. So you have 2 stones that have been thrown into still water, they create wave patterns, and where those waves cross each other is called an interference pattern. And it's the interference of various wave patterns that allows us to create a hologram. So now you have your bit of holographic plate with these strange patterns on it, and no apple to be seen. So in order to get the apple, you have to pass a light source through number 6, the holographic plate. And on the other side of the plate, you will see a 3-dimensional apple hanging in the air. You can walk around it, see it from every different angle, and you can also put your hand through it, because it is an apple made out of light frequencies. Okay, so that's how holograms are made. So now, when I read this in the holographic universe, I said, this is it. This is the model. This is the common denominator that could actually allow us, don't you get it? It could allow us to shift our reality. So how and why? Let's look at it. We'll take it from number 1 again. I'm going to go do this back and forward so you'll really just get an understanding of this. So number 1, the beam, the laser beam, I see as our consciousness. And it's the consciousness, in the East they say, who we truly are is the light and the power of 12 suns. That's who we truly are. And they always, in all philosophies, going right, India, China, Socrates, the first thing they say is know thyself. Know thyself. And really, knowing ourselves is knowing who we are, which is seeing and recognizing that we are the light of 12 suns. Now that's just not an intellectual knowing, that is an experience of that. I've never had it, certainly. One day I hope to. But this is the beam of who we are, the drop of the divine, whatever you want to call it. That beam cannot step down directly into the physical frame, into the physical body. So we know this from high voltage electricity. You step high voltage electricity into your house, you've got an explosion on your hands. Okay? So it has to be stepped down, and you have the transformer that steps the frequency down so we can use that high voltage electricity in our computers and our fridges and our stoves and our electric lights. It has to be stepped down. And you have to have protection, surge protectors and circuit breakers and so on. So if you get an extra little surge, you don't again ruin your computer. So with us, the beam of who we truly are, our consciousness, has to be stepped down. And the beam splitter is really the stepping down into the duality of the body. And I'm not going to go into that in detail because that's the next, is 3 workshops, okay? First 3 workshops really goes through this step by step. And by the way, to do holographic repatterning, you don't have to have any intellectual understanding of any of this. You can actually throw it all out the window. But the way I teach the workshop, I like to teach it from a left brain point of view and a right brain point of view. So that I give intellectual theories that could be wrong, and when they're wrong I throw them out and come up with another one. And then I give the right brain, which is simply getting it, experiencing it, doing it, changing. So the important thing is to get the change. The intellectual understanding, who cares? But I kind of like it, so I do it. All right, so in any case, our beam splitter, the first beam comes down and passes through the diffusing lens, and I see number 3, the diffusing lens, as our 5 senses, because it's our 5 senses that allow our consciousness to move out into the world and allow us to take the world into our consciousness. And it's called growth and learning and experience. Without the 5 senses, we don't get that. So these 5 senses allow us to take the picture of all the apples of our lives, all the events of our lives. And we have, the apple is the events of our life and our responses to those events. Are our responses positive, empowering, or are they survival responses? I've got to get through this. So if my mother goes to hospital when I'm 3 weeks old, and I say, I'm abandoned, that is a response. And that response is going to create the wave patterns on the holographic plate of our body-mind system, which is called abandonment. Okay? She just went there for 2 days to have a checkup. But this little 2-week baby didn't know that and didn't understand that and had a survival response to being separated from its mother. So every event in our life, we have responses to it. And those responses are either empowering, energizing, integrating, or they are depleting, incoherent, and cause us to lose energy. All right, so that's that first part. Now let's go back and take the second beam that passes through the beam splitter and bounces off, reflects off various mirrors. And I view the mirrors as being the history of who we are. It's the history, it could be Jungian, the archetypal patterns. It can be the history of all the generations that have come before us. It's also, for those who believe in past lives, you could say it's our past life history that is channeling through for this particular lifetime. Doesn't matter what your belief system is. If you don't like past lives, throw it out the window. If you're not into Jungian archetypes, throw it out the window. They're all theories. Who cares about theories? It's not important what the theory is. It's important to get the change. So here then it passes through B, the diffusing lens of our energy system. And the energy system is the meridians, it's the chakra energy system, and probably energy systems that we're not even aware of. But these are the two that we know of on this planet, are the ones used from ancient Ayurvedic knowledge and ancient acupuncture knowledge from China. So the energy, how does our energy respond to the events of our lives? Is the energy flowing, balanced, harmonized, empowered? Or does the energy constrict and become small, blocked, obstructed? Whatever that response is, it gets recorded on the plate, the field of our system. So here we then have this huge infinite plate of everything, all knowledge, all understanding, all events, and we shine a light source through it. So what is the light source? The light source, as far as I see it, is our point of view. It's our belief system, point of view. So if, as I talk about in the article, they did this wonderful little research experiment where they had a whole bunch of students and they told them they were going to inject them with a sedative, and they wanted to see what kind of response they had. And instead of putting the sedative into them, they put a very high dose of caffeine. So, what did they do? Did they bounce off the walls or did they fall asleep? Of course, everybody knows the answer. Why are we so pat with knowing the answer? It's true, they did fall asleep. But that is not scientific. That is not the scientific answer, is it? If there's a scientific, so how, you see, again, the whole thing in new physics is saying there is no pure scientific experiment. Science is constantly trying to filter out placebos. It's ridiculous. Why would you want to filter out a placebo? What we want to do is use it for our benefit. So, what they see here, a placebo, is a belief system. It's a point of view. That's all it is. And if a doctor says to this wonderful experiment with this man, well, not experiment, the man was dying of cancer, he had huge grapefruit cancers all over his body. And he said, I've heard that Laetrile works. The doctor said, this man has 2 days to live. He said, okay, I'll put you on Laetrile. And it was expecting him to die over the weekend. Monday he comes back, not a cancer to be seen. Printed in one of the great medical journals. He said they've melted away like ice cubes in the sun. A few months later, article comes out in a newspaper saying Laetrile's ridiculous and it doesn't work. Within days, his cancers were back. Getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So he thinks, I better do something about this. It worked the first time, let's try a second time. So he says, you know, the Laetrile we had in those days, it was not that pure. They come up with a purer, stronger, fabulous Laetrile. Do you want to try it again? He said, yes, yes. Put him on the drip. It's distilled water. He comes back, no cancer to be seen. Now the story has an unhappy ending because the AMA, a few months later, came out with the final word on Laetrile. And within days the man was dead. Read the article and he was dead. That was point of view. All point of view. And we all have a point of view that shines through this infinite plate and creates our reality. When he had a point of view that Laetrile worked, he created an empowered reality. Within days he moved through every cancer, grapefruit cancer on his body. No blood test and no cancer to be seen anywhere. Very empowered point of view. Unfortunately, it very quickly got disempowered as a result of a newspaper article, and then got totally disempowered as a result of the AMA. The authorities came in, and the power of their point of view was more powerful than his point of view. And it resulted in a reality called dead, which is what a lot of us do. We die. Got 2 months to live. 2 months later, the person's dead. If you believe in somebody's point of view and give them that kind of empowerment, you can actually create that kind of reality for yourself. But this holographic plate, remember, is an infinite plate, because in holograms, you cannot divide the part from the whole. So let's say you've got an apple here. If you cut a photograph of an apple in half, you have 2 half apples. Cut it to quarters, you've got 4 little pieces of apple. But with this, a holographic plate is totally different. cut a holographic plate into 100 pieces, into 1,000 pieces, shine 1,000 lights through each of those little minuscule pieces, what do you see on the other side of the plate? One whole apple. You cannot divide it. Magical. It can't be divided. So that means that we have all knowledge inside us. We can't be divided. We aren't the part, we're the whole. It means that everything that has ever been invented, discovered, known is inside us. The history of the creation is inside us. All levels, divinity, what do all the philosophers say? The kingdom of God is inside you. Everything is inside us. It's on the holographic plate of the whole body, mind, spirit system here. What determines what we access is our light source or our belief system, which again you get in all philosophies talk about this. If you just believed, you could move mountains. It's not just a nice philosophical pat statement, it's a reality. What are our beliefs? So in holographic repatterning, what we do is we work with the events of our lives and our response to those events. Can't change the event, you can change the response. Those are the unconscious patterns which we do in the second workshop. We work with B, which is the energy response to events in our life. That's the third weekend. It's the meridian chakra system. How can we move our energies through to a different way of responding? Clear out the old way of responding that we based our lives on and come up with a whole new energy response to our lives. And the third aspect we work with is the belief or our intentions, our point of view, which determines what we access, so that we can access whatever we want to access on this holographic plate and get immediate changes. So just coming backwards here, number 7 then is the apple, our three-dimensional reality. And this reality can look wonderful or it can look terrible. It can look healthy or sick. It can look successful or unsuccessful. It can look rich, it can look poor. That's just our reality. And this reality, for us, appears real, concrete and unchanging, doesn't it? If your aunt comes and you hear that she's got cancer of the liver and has been given 2 months to live, doesn't that feel like an unchanging, concrete reality? It's not. It is a reality made up of frequencies. Frequencies of sound and light. And frequencies can be changed. So what do you do when you turn your TV on? You're tuning into a frequency. What do you do when you change the channel? You're tuning into another frequency. It's that simple. All right? So get the new paradigm that we're working with here is a paradigm of frequencies. The old paradigm is the paradigm of physical matter that can't be changed. Underneath, if we want to change these frequencies that aren't working for us, we look at the holographic plate, because all the frequencies are recorded on the plate of our body-mind system. But this is just a plate. Don't take it too seriously. It's just a plate, this field of energy. That's not where it all comes from. So where does this come from? It comes from our unconscious responses. If we want to change this, we have to change the unconscious survival responses. We have to change B, the energy responses, and we need to change our point of view. And whichever one of those you change, you're going to shift this, or what you access of this, and you will immediately shift this reality. And it's being proven. So they've had children with multiple personalities. One personality has asthma, another personality has diabetes. Within seconds, that child can shift from asthma to diabetes, and diabetes back to asthma, and the body will show no signs of diabetes when it's in the asthmatic personality. In seconds, this physical body has changed. His whole physiology has changed. So this inert matter that we are convinced is solid is not. If a multiple personality can shift their frequencies within seconds to diabetes or from diabetes, why can't we shift and be functional at the same time? Why can't we shift the frequencies and cure ourselves of cancer in 2 seconds, or marital problems in 2 seconds, or work problems in 2 seconds, or athletic or artistic problems in 2 seconds? We can. It can be done. That's my belief. And that's what I'm basing holographic repatterning on, that we can shift this reality. So next step is to demonstrate it. So let Shady turn the tape over. Good. Interesting stuff though, isn't it? Oh, she's doing that. Let's see if I've missed anything out here. Yeah, good. Okay. Okay. I don't want to give you too much tonight. Great. All right. Yes.
Are the changes you put, that occur through holographic repatterning through electromagnetic radiation or sound radiation? Sound waves?
You mean in terms of what frequencies we're shifting, or
frequencies.
what do we use to change it? You mean?
One sound travels much slower. So if you were to holographic repattern someone who's halfway around the world, it would take hours to get there. And it'd be almost instantaneous.
All right. Actually, my sister, who lives in India, she works on people in South Africa and England and America.
Yeah.
And the changes actually occur when she's giving the session. Then she writes the letter, which takes 3 weeks to come.
Yeah.
And the person says, that's amazing. They got the response 3 weeks earlier when she was doing the session.
So,
And often,
so it must be like light waves.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, who knows what, I imagine so. But it's instantaneous,
Okay,
I think.
that's the question.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah. Any other questions at this point that you want to ask before we go into demonstrations?
I've been wondering how you know what a healthy liver sounds like.
You don't? I don't. What does a healthy liver sound like is the question here. So you've got, this is number 7, unhealthy liver, and all we know is the manifestation. The person can't digest their food, they've got pains here, and the doctor's told them they've got cirrhosis of the liver or whatever. We know then that number 7, the apple, our three-dimensional reality, looks like an unhealthy liver. So we want to say, okay, we want to change that. We're not interested in that. We're not medical doctors. We're not concerned with livers. We're concerned with the frequencies on the plate. What creates the frequencies? There are certain unconscious patterns here that are creating this frequency. There are certain energy constrictions creating that frequency. And there's probably a certain belief system creating or accessing an unhealthy liver. So in holographic repatterning then, there are 2 basic steps. The first step is to find out the structure of what is creating the unhealthy liver. So we, with the muscle checking, access the unconscious patterns, the energy constrictions, the point of view that could be creating that. So the first step is to make the unknown known, to find out the structure that's holding that limitation in place. The first step. And that we'll be learning to do in the first 3 workshops. The second step is how do we move it on through? So we've now found the structure of what is creating this reality out here. What does the system need to shift those frequency patterns to their optimal resonance, their optimal frequency, which will create a reality that looks like a healthy liver? What does it need? And that's the healing modalities. So that's step number 5 on the 6-step process, are the healing modalities. So a lot of us, when we're not feeling well, or our marriages or our relationships are having problems, or you're in the arts and you're feeling writer's block, or whatever your problem may be, what do? We go to healers who have a particular healing modality. It's usually pretty haphazard, and a lot of people who are sick know how haphazard it is, because they will often go to hundreds of healing modalities before they come across 1 or 2 or here or there that does the work, that shifts something for them. Whereas in holographic repatterning, what you do is you find the underlying pattern, and then you muscle check the exact healing modality that will shift the frequencies. And so it may be like I worked on one man, and it came up that he needed to go and have his 3rd cervical adjusted by a particular chiropractic system. And he went, and the person said, yeah, absolutely, 3rd cervical is the one that's out. Or it may be that the person needs to have some massage or polarity therapy or acupuncture or whatever. In the holographic repatterning seminars, I teach people a baseline of healing modalities that they can use for shifting frequencies. So in the book, for instance, that you get this weekend, there's an index of all the healing modalities that you learn over the 3 weekends. So for people who don't know anything about healing, self-healing I call it, they'll learn certain body movements. You see, anything and everything shifts frequencies. And there's no perfect healing modality. So when people say, oh, craniosacral is the perfect thing, and polarity, and Reiki, and this, and people are into their own thing, and think that only this does it. And what we're all realizing now, is that there is no one panacea. All healing modalities are perfect when you need it, and when it helps you. So the healing modality that helps you is the perfect healing modality. So if you can have body movements that shift these frequencies. You can have energy modalities, meridian massage, cranial jinshin, acupuncture points. They'll shift these frequencies. You have sounds, and I'll teach you various sounds to shift frequencies. Breaths, shift it. Anything and everything. And then I have pages of categorizing every healing modality there is can do it. Now with the muscle checking, you can find out which one this person needs at this moment in time for these particular patterns that will create a change in this reality out here. So it makes it very exact. So, would you like to see this demonstrated? Okay, so you'll just see, and I'll do it in a fairly simplified form, I think. I'm not quite sure, I'll muscle check what's best to do, but basically you'll see, first of all, making the unknown known, which is what is the unconscious pattern. I think I'll keep it just with unconscious patterns. I won't get into the energy work, unless I have to, in which case I will. Okay, leave it wide open. We'll first of all get to know the structure of the problem, and then what's the healing modality that will shift that structure of frequencies on through. So first, there's 2 things. First of all, the person who comes up here, it's somebody who doesn't mind being videoed, and the video may be used across the country one day. Who knows? It's a perfect video. So it means that if you come up here, you don't mind being on the video, and so that would be taken for granted. All right. And then the second thing is, does somebody have a problem like a headache, something that we could see a shift on straight away? Feeling sore on the shoulders, neck, can't turn your head. What do you have?
I have this like kink in the middle
Kink
of my back.
in the middle of the back.
Under one shoulder blade.
Okay, so you know it's there, and you do certain movements, you can really feel it.
Right.
Okay, so it would be good to work with you, yes. And anybody else has any other problem? What's your problem?
This flu that's going around.
You have a flu. Yes, okay, you can do it for that, definitely. I'd like to use somebody where we can get an immediate, hopefully get an immediate response. Why not get an immediate response on the flu? You had the flu? Or you're just scared that you might get it? Or
I'm getting over the flu.
you're getting over it, but you still feel kind of a little low in energy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well we'll check out. Yes, what do you have?
I have a pretty severe pain in my stomach that's been
You do?
diagnosed as an ulcer, so
Aha.
still.
Okay. Something like that, it may be that we need to do a whole 6-step process.
Okay.
So which would be a whole 1-hour session. So you may want to go to Shady or some of the other people here. Yes.
I have a neck pain.
A neck pain. And what, turn your head one way. Does that hurt? Where does it
It
hurt?
hurts right when I go
Hurts
out.
when you do that. Okay, good. Well, let's just check. I hear myself doing this in front of me. I say, well, I've just been diagnosed with cancer. I say, good, good. So, you know, it's the time to move this on through. It's you're being asked to shift some stuff here that is wanting to be healed. So whenever you have any symptom, it's a very empowering, powerful place to be in. Your system is asking for something of change, growth. So we need to have, let's go. Okay? Yeah. Right. Are you okay with the video?
Oh yeah.
Yes? All right, no problem. All right, so now, let's see where we're going to go with you. I never ever know what we're going to be doing here. So, first of all, just to show the muscle checking, meet my pressure, and I press on her, she's strong, give me a yes, and she's strong, give me a no, and it goes down. Okay. So the problem that we're dealing with right here is this issue in the back, and I'll just muscle check it, yes, and where is it in your back?
Right here.
Right there. Okay. So, just touching that area here, we muscle check her, and she's, well, let's just see. Maybe I was touching the
A
wrong
little bit
place.
closer to the spine.
Oh, it's,
there you go.
so it's right,
there.
right. You can feel it when I press it, hurts?
That one,
Okay,
yeah.
so I'm just touching there, and down she goes. Okay, I'm going to just touch her in some other place up here, and she's strong. Touch it down here, and she's strong. Touch her there, and down she goes. So there's a frequency that's lost its optimal waveform, its pattern, its coherence, and she's asking for some help there. So let's see what we can do. So taking the 6-step process, well, let me just see. Normally what I do is I just go through the 6 steps, but what I might do tonight is something slightly different here, okay? So I'm just going to muscle check what's best for the group and what's best for Julie. Kathy. Julie, where's Julie?
Julie's my best friend.
It's Julie. She's your best friend. Julie and Kathy. I always get you two confused.
I know.
All right. Kathy. Now, the best thing to do for Kathy, and in terms of the learning of the whole group here, is just go directly and do a limiting belief that's involved. Yes. And we can find out some other things are involved. Yes. So I'm not going to do, the best thing is to go through the 6-step process. No. Okay. I'm going to go straight to a limiting belief in the Unconscious Patterns book. And what I'll do is, so she has this kink here, and there's a certain belief system that's involved for her, a limiting belief that needs to clear on through. True, yes. And I've just got a list of all these limiting beliefs I put out, page number 42 of them. We're going to find out which is the one that relates to this problem that Kathy has. Okay. 1 through 5, no. 6 through 10, yes. Is number 6? No. Is number 7? No. Number 8? No. Number 9? Yes. Just go through the numbers. It's number 9? Yes. Is 10 through 42? No. Definitely number 9? Yes. Want to know what number 9 is? Number 9 is, I don't deserve to be happy. Interesting. And the positive is, I deserve to be happy. So let's muscle check her. This is a general muscle check. Yes, say, I don't deserve to be happy.
I don't deserve to be happy.
Immovable. Immovable. Say it again.
I don't deserve to be happy.
Strong as a rock. So her system is saying, I resonate with that. Yeah. A lot of energy for resonating with I don't deserve to be happy. What you resonate with is going to determine the reality you create for yourself. Whatever you resonate with is what you get. So let's look at the positive. Say, I deserve to be happy.
I deserve to be happy.
One finger, down she goes. She doesn't resonate with deserving to be happy. So if she wants to move through 7, the apple, kink in her shoulder, she's got to move through a response here, an unconscious survival response called I don't deserve to be happy. Because that's what she's resonating with, and it's creating these wave patterns, creating trouble in her shoulder. Okay, so there are probably a lot of other things that we could check. Let's just check on another one. And these are all unconscious survival responses, and I'm just picking out certain ones just for the fun of it. And then we'll see what it shifts and changes for you. So we're now pulling in the structure of what holds this place in her back in a place of pain. And one part of of Kathy's structure is, I don't deserve to be happy. But that's just one part of the structure. And remember, if I do a healing modality on her right now, she may get some temporary relief, but it will probably come back. Why? Because the part and the whole, you cannot separate the part from the whole from the part. We've got to get the complete structure in order to shift it on through. If we only get 2 lines of a square, we won't get the square. We've got to have all 4 lines there in place. So we're in a way finding out what are the lines that create that structure. So it would be good to go, in terms of moving this on through with Kathy and shifting the frequencies, it would be, we need to find out the compensation that's involved. No, we don't. Okay, I'm just going to go to my list of unconscious patterns here and see what, there is something else that we need to know about in terms of energy work or unconscious patterns, yes. So, it's something from the reptilian brain. No. Early experience. No. Parental repatterning. No. Self-image. reversals, compensations, vision, hearing, writing. Something from unresolved energy constrictions, yes. So she wants to move us into energy. Here on the other side, energy constrictions. So we need to go to, I'm just going to guess because I've got a long list of all things on energy that we could go to. So let's just see. It's something to do with chakra repatterning. No. Meridian, okay, meridians. So some meridian that's involved, an acupuncture meridian. So page 118, let's just see, I can do it without that. So we need to know the exact meridian that's involved, yes. So I've got it in my mind, so I'm just going to go through it in my mind. It's one of the fire meridians, no. Earth meridians, no. Metal meridians, no. It's the water meridians, yes. Wood meridians, no. So it's water, kidney or bladder. So it's the kidney meridian, no. Bladder meridian, yes. Bladder, coming up. So let's find out, you can just turn to this book and find out from the bladder meridian what is the issue here. It could be on many different levels. So the bladder meridian, for Kathy, in terms of this, is on the physical level, no. So you don't have any physical bladder problems.
Not right now.
Oh yeah. So bladder is a big thing for you
I've
then?
had bladder infections all my
Okay.
life.
Oh, okay, interesting. So she's had bladder infections her whole life, and what do we come up with? Come up with bladder. And that this place on her back, interestingly enough, the bladder meridian passes right over it. Okay, fascinating. So the plot thickens. So it's on the emotional level for the bladder meridian. No, it's on the mental level. Mental level for the bladder meridian. It's on the relationship level? No. Spiritual level? No. About career or business? No. It's on the mental level. So I've got things listed here, so you don't have to know it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just have to be able to read and count numbers. So the thing that on the mental level of the bladder meridian that's involved with this for Kathy, it's number 1, no. Number 2, no. Number 3, no. It's number 4, no. And it's number 5, yes. Number 5. Number 5 is about her being able to contain her reserves of time, no. It's about energy, yes. Knowledge, no. Creativity, so it's about energy. You're not containing your reserves of energy. Are you aware of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. The beauty of this work is you come up with it and goes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no problem. Yes, I understand that. Because they already know it. She is the computer of everything about her system. So it's like we can access this computer. Now the big question is, how can I muscle check to access her system? Anybody wonder about that? How can we do this? It's very easy. It's new physics. Because in new physics, what we're seeing here is that we are all fields of energy, pulsing vibrations of energy. The old paradigm is you have a solid body here and I have a solid body here. That's the old paradigm. When Einstein discovered E equals mc squared in the early 1900s, we moved into a revolution, believe it or not. And that revolution is coming into fruition right now in the 90s. Because E equals mc squared says all matter is a pulsing frequency of energy. All matter. That means that this body is a pulsing frequency of energy. Your body is a pulsing frequency of energy. We're just one great big energy field in here. And there is no separation in energy. We're simply energy waves interacting, exchanging. As Deepak Chopra says, you're breathing out molecules and atomic particles of the heart, and I'm breathing them in, and this is this huge interchange of energy frequencies. So this field, Kathy has given me permission to access her field. She came up for a session, and we're using muscle checking, the strength or the weakness of a muscle, to access the field, to find out what is the structure of this glitch she has in her back. And so far the glitch, the structure we've come up with is a limiting belief and a problem on the mental level with her bladder meridian. That's it. Okay, so now but we need to confirm that. So we lift up our arm, and this is a general muscle check. Yes. Say, I contain my reserves of energy.
I contain my reserves of energy.
And down she goes. She doesn't resonate with that. Okay, let's just check on the opposite. Say, say, I waste my reserves of energy.
I waste my reserves of energy.
Immovable. What you resonate with is what you've got. And she's paying a price for that. She's getting trouble in her back. Okay? So now, in terms of moving through this issue that Kathy has in her back, there is anything else that we need to access. Yes. Haven't got the structure yet. So we went into a healing modality right now. She's not going to get the permanent results that she wants. That she always feels better. She'll go home and back it comes again. And as chiropractors have found, they do this fabulous adjustment, and 4 days later, the person comes back in again. It's not holding. Why isn't it holding? Because there are unconscious responses, energy constrictions, points of view that need to be moved on through for it to hold. So when I do this work, and chiropractors say it's fantastic, they're finally holding their adjustments. So it works with all these healing systems work together. It's the old paradigm is exclusivity. Mine's good, yours is bad. Mine's better, yours is less better. The new paradigm is they're all fabulous, and they all work together. It's beautiful, because we're really moving into a new age. Western medicine is perfect. When you need Western medicine, there is nothing like it. And when you need to have a massage, it's the ultimate. All right, so now let's find out there's something else that Kathy wants us to bring to consciousness. We want it to be part of the structure here. So it's something from the earlier experience? No. Something from parental repatterning? No. It's something from this list here? No. It's something from this list here? No. Something from this list? Yes. Okay, something from language? No. Belief? No. Upper limits? Page 139 is coming up here. Upper limits. So what do you need from here? All right, so now, in order for Kathy to move this on through, we need to check on the new possible way for her to be. No. We need to check on the mental attitude by which she sabotages herself. No. We need to check on the beliefs that take her back into her old way of being. Yes. So again, it's another belief that's coming up here. So it's number 1. No. And it's 2 through 5. Yes. It's number 2. No. It's number 3. No. Number 4. Yes. So these are old beliefs. Usually they're family beliefs in some way or another. The belief we've come up with is, I'm afraid I'll lose them if I change. Does that make any sense to you? I'm afraid I'll lose them if I change. See, one thing that for instance, as you're thinking, I'll just give a story. Once worked with a woman who had asthma, and she had it her whole life, never knew she was going to survive the night. And with this work, after a month, she had no asthma. She was completely free of her symptoms for the first time in her life. And then after a month, they all came back again. Because the underlying belief was, if I don't have asthma, I'm going to lose my husband. Because when her husband married her, he married this 18-year-old who had asthma. The contract of the marriage was, I'll look after you. And she was now breaking the marital contract, the unconscious marital contract. And so she suddenly moved to symptom-free and wanted a nice, sexy husband. And that was not part of the contract. You know, you hold my hand, you put your arm around me. She started making demands for physical affection. And he was not about to do that after 40 years of marriage. The contract for him was, I'll look after you. I'll be a fabulous, caring, nurturing husband who puts the gas in the tank, who looks after you, takes you to the hospital. And that was the channel he used for expressing his love. And so when she shifted out into a new contract, he couldn't change. He wasn't about to change. And she got all her asthma back and went back into the old contract. So these old beliefs can sometimes stop us from shifting into super health, super well-being, super success, super anything. Because it's like, oh gosh, what's going to happen here to all my relationships? Are they going to be able to take me being this incredible person? Or they won't know how to relate to me? Okay? So you can't relate to that one too much. You can. All right. Because I've had
I just bought a house, and it's like I have to work to make the house payment. I'm afraid of losing the house.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it applies in a lot of ways through my whole life with relationships and stuff too,
Yes.
but right at the present moment.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
fine, yeah.
So for you then, if you change,
Yeah, if I don't work and use up all the energy I have every day, and then I'll lose my house.
okay, interesting. So you can see why she's expending huge amounts of energy, not containing it.
Right.
There's the house. Interesting. I'm still curious though. I'm afraid I'll lose them if I change. So what you're saying is, you mean if you don't work and expend huge amounts of energy, you'll
Every
lose
day.
the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I work weekends, evenings.
You do. Okay. All right. I'm still curious about that. So, is there some way that she could keep a house and live a more balanced life, containing her reserves of energy? I'm going to muscle check that to see if that's actually what it's about. Okay. Does it involve any people that if you change, you're afraid you might lose them too?
Right now, no one I can think
No
of.
groups of people, no, nothing like that.
Maybe it's self.
Pets.
Maybe it's self.
Self, if I,
She
Afraid-
let herself down and not be able to handle that.
I'm afraid I'll lose myself if I change.
Some way, shape, or form.
Let's just check it. So this is definitely the belief that's needed here, yes. And there's a fear that she'll lose. It could be definitely about losing the house, yes. Losing herself, yes, both, because what's the house represent? It represents ourselves, doesn't it? Our home represents a projection of our own selfhood. So there's some place that if she changes into someone who contains her reserves of energy, that she'll lose herself, lose her home. Yeah. It's like she can't see a way of having herself and having this house and conserving her energy and doing it a different way. Yes, interesting. Okay. So, say, I'm afraid I'll lose my house and myself if I change.
I'm afraid I'll lose my house and myself if I change.
Very strong. She resonates with that. Yes. I just out of interest, but let's just see what it looks like the other way. Say, I have my house and myself and conserve my energy wisely.
I have my house and myself and conserve my energy wisely.
No, does not like it. Yeah. Okay. Well, now can you understand why she's got a glitch in her shoulder and her back? It's getting clearer, isn't it? There's anything else that Kathy needs before we move into healing modalities on this? No. So in terms of this little session that we're doing tonight, it's not to say there aren't other things going on, but in terms of just what we're going to do tonight, we just brought up three things: a limiting belief, and we brought up a sabotaging belief, and what was the third one? The energy, the bladder meridian on the mental level. So let's see, at this point now we can move into healing modality. Yes. So look up the healing modality book here and find out what healing modality. You're a chiropractor, aren't you? So she might be a chiropractor. But you see how doing a chiropractic adjustment on her now is very different from if she'd gone to a chiropractor for an adjustment. So Kathy needs a chiropractic adjustment on that part of her spine. No. Just so happens she doesn't. Doesn't mean to say chiropractic is bad. It just means she doesn't need it.
I made an appointment with a chiropractor, but I didn't have to check for it either.
Okay, well let's find out what you need here to move this on through. Kathy needs some body movements to shift this frequency on through. No. She needs some energy modalities to shift it on through. Yes. She needs, and I've got a list of energy modalities here. She needs the thymus energy menu. No. Meridian massage. No. Cranial holes. No. Chin chin. Chakra self-healing modalities. Specific meridian points. Left hemisphere midline mu points. They're acupuncture points. No. Right hemisphere. Yes. Page 40. Oh, let's see what it is here. Page 40. Okay, right hemisphere mu point. She needs anything for the gallbladder? No. Liver? No. Spleen? No. Kidney? Yes. So what do we come up with? We've come up with the partner meridian to the bladder meridian, the kidney, which is about our great reserves of energy. So she needs to hold the kidney points, yes. And everybody, you can all do this, it's going to be good for your kidneys too. So, you just put your fingers just right here over the kidney area. And Kathy needs to put a particular finger over that kidney area, yes. She needs to place her middle fingers over both of them, middle finger over one of those kidney points, yes. The right hand needs to be the middle finger, yes. Left hand needs to be the middle finger, no. Left hand needs to be index finger, yes. So you're using your middle finger and your index finger. Just get the other fingers out of the way and relax so it's comfortable. And then we need to do the sounds for that, yes. And I'll just simply, there are particular consonant sounds that strengthen the kidney meridian. So the sounds are k and g. K, g, g, k, 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 g. She's complete? No, keep going. K, g, k, g, k, g, k, g, k, g. Okay, that's complete. She needs to do the affirmation for it. Keep your hands there. And the affirmation for Kathy is, my energies are balanced. Yes. And she needs to do any of the other ones. No. She needs that, just the first one. Yes. And just about her energies in general. Yes. Okay. Say, my energies are balanced. Just repeat that over. We can all do it. My energies are balanced. My energies are balanced. My energies are balanced. My energies are balanced. Complete? No? Keep on going. My energies are balanced. 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 Hold on. She needs to do this with standing up. Yes. Eyes open. No. Eyes closed. Okay. That's why it was going on such a long time. Anything else we need to muscle check? My energies are balanced. My energies are balanced. Complete. So as soon as she closed her eyes, she only did it twice. Okay. And Kathy needs any other healing modality? No. So this shoulder issue here is something very different on an energy level. So at this point, we can just go back and confirm the shifts and the changes. Yes. All right. So I'm just going to touch this place on the spine and the back here. And she's strong. Okay, touch it again, all this whole area, just in case I missed anything out. And she's very strong. So we know something changed here. Because she's not strong as she was before. She's resonating with something different. The limiting belief was, I don't deserve to be happy. See that? I don't deserve to be happy. She doesn't resonate with that anymore. Say, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy. She's very strongly on for that. Good. Now, doesn't that make sense now in terms of the house and herself? The only way to have happiness, her own home, her own self, is to work herself to death and use up all the reserves of energy. So that resonance with I don't deserve to be happy is, here I've got the house which is going to make me feel happy, and I'm working 7 days a week, evenings and weekends. Okay. The second one was, what was the second one? We had the limiting belief, or the bladder meridian. Oh, that's right. And the bladder meridian was, do you remember?
It was my mental, energy.
Oh, that's right. Say,
my reserves of energy, something.
That's right, got it right here. Here it is. Mental level is, say, I contain my reserves of energy.
I contain my reserves of energy.
And she's very strong. Say, I use up my reserves of energy.
I use up my reserves of energy.
And she no longer resonates with it. So we know that shifted on through. And the third one was this particular belief here, and it was, I'm afraid I'll lose myself and my house if I change.
I'm afraid I'll lose myself and my house if I change.
Ooh, she's still on for it.
I think you stated it differently before.
Oh, what did I say the first time?
I think I was...
Well, she could still be on for it.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'll lose my house and myself if I contain my energy, I think.
Yeah. Did I actually put it in that way?
So
If I
it was myself also.
Yes, say, okay, I'm afraid I'll lose myself and my house.
I'm afraid I'll lose myself and my house.
If I change, if I use up my, if I contain my reserves of energy.
Oh, if I contain my reserves of energy.
No, meet my pressure. I'm not sure. I think she's on for it, but let's just check. There's no right or wrong here. You see, there's no right or wrong, there's only information. If she still resonates with that, we need to know it.
Yeah.
So I don't want her to say, oh gosh, I'm meant to be going off, I better go off. I want to really make sure
Right.
we get this. So I'm just going to try it out 2 ways here. Say, I'm afraid I'll lose myself in my house if I change.
I'm afraid I'll lose myself in my house if I change.
And she is on to that. Yes. And we'll just put in the other words, I'm afraid I'll lose myself in my house if I conserve my reserves of energy, contain my reserves of energy.
I'm afraid I'll lose myself in my house if I contain my reserves of energy.
Yeah, she's definitely on. Good. So that's good information. So she's shifted something on through, but there's something here where her system is still saying, I'm still locked into resonating with that. So we need to
But you know what? I've been trying to stand up straight all day long, and I haven't been able to do it because it's kind of, and I feel real straight right now.
Good,
So
good.
whatever
So
is
that's
moved,
nice.
just
Something
move that spot.
wonderful. And could you,
And it's
before
not
when you
painful
moved
at all.
it, no
Yeah.
pain when you move
No
now?
pain when I move now.
Wonderful.
It's funny because I felt like a little pop in my neck when we were doing stuff,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden I was standing straight.
And could you actually feel something moving on through it, or is just something
No, it's
that's
just
like
all of a sudden
suddenly
just-
just happened?
I just took a
Yes.
deep breath and I was standing straight,
Yes.
which I've been trying to do all day.
So you hear that whole trying to, when you have unconscious patterns and energy constrictions, there's a sense of, I put in so much struggle and so much effort. Whereas when you actually just simply shift those resonances, those frequencies on through, it's something, it feels that you are doing what you naturally know and want to do. And there's still something hasn't shifted on through, so I'm not going to let her get off the hook yet. No, sorry, because that's how I developed this whole system, because I never was satisfied. It was like, this hasn't changed, so let's find out what Kathy needs to change this. So, she's still resonating with losing herself and losing her house if she changes, yes. And in order to shift that one on through, there's something more we need to do right now. Yes. Yeah. Okay, what do we need to do right now? I don't know. See, in this work, you're always right up at the edge in your ignorance. And so the beauty of it is that you can admit your ignorance all the time. Because as soon as you admit your ignorance, it begins to come on through what you need to do. So it's a wonderful place to be in. And so with all my clients, I always say, gosh, I don't know what we're going to do. And I can see them smile. They love it. They get kind of this look of relief on their face. And then I don't have to prove anything, I know. Okay, so with Kathy, there's something she needs right now. Yes. She needs some kind of positive action. No. There's some other kind of unconscious pattern that we need to get in touch with. No. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I was, I did a
If you're stuck,
repatterning.
ask them.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did a repatterning on myself, I don't know how long ago, and it came up that I was supposed to call Shady, get a relationship repatterning. I didn't do it.
Okay. All right.
That might be
So it could be that she needs to have another session on this, so let's just check and see. So what Kathy needs to do in terms of what we need to do right now, she needs to go and have a session with Shady. No.
Does she need a primordial sound?
She needs some kind of, okay, that's a good one. It may not be that one, but let me check on that first of all, that for something else. There's some other healing modality that Kathy needs specifically for this thing on, I'm afraid I'll lose myself, etc., etc. Yes. So we were complete with the healing, but we weren't complete with the healing modalities. Now, either I was going too fast or something like that, but if you go too fast or you don't quite get the right thing, the system will pull you back later on. So, the healing modality that Kathy needs now, specifically now to move through, I'm afraid I'll lose my house and myself if I change. Specific healing modality is a sound. Yes. Good. Okay, and the sound that Kathy needs is one of the harmonic overtones. You get to see the harmonic overtones, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually let's experiment with this. I'm thinking this is going to be different. Does anybody here know how to do the harmonic overtones? Besides people who take the classes? Okay. Let's just see. Kathy needs to do the harmonic overtones herself. No. She needs to have them done for her, yes. And she needs to have me do it specifically, yes. Anybody else here who knows how to do them, she needs to have them do it? No. Sorry about that. She just needs me to do it, yes. Sometimes the whole group is needed. Okay, so while she's having this harmonic overtone done, she needs to be standing in any particular position, yes. So by the way, all these questions are all written out for you. So if you think, oh gosh, I never know what question to ask, you don't have to worry, it's in the books. Okay, so Kathy needs to be sitting down over in her seat while she has this done? No. She needs to stand here? Yes. She needs to stand facing me? No. With her back to me? Yes. So let's have your back here. So, and while she's having the harmonic overtones done, I need to touch the place on the back. Right here. Yes. Okay. You need to touch it in any particular way. So your fingers, you can do harmonic sounds and then just put your finger there and it'll all vibrate through the fingers. So, this is where you would normally feeling it right in here. Yeah. And she needs to have the contact right here. No. Right here. Yes. Just to one side of the spine. Anywhere else besides here? No. It's an exact spot that we need to contact. Yes. It's this spot right here. No. Little higher. No. Little to the left. No. Little lower. Yes. This is the spot. Yes. Very exact. Okay. This is when it gets exciting. All right. Now I need to contact it with my left hand. No, with my right hand. Okay. Well, I'm going to muscle check everything first. I need to hold it with my index finger in my right hand. No. Middle finger. Yes. Any of the other fingers? No. Okay, so I need to contact it with my right middle finger on the spot, yes, and do the harmonic overtones, yes, all of them, yes. Harmonic overtones, they create these harmonics, and it's these harmonics, you'll sometimes hear them like bell sounds, they're really amazing, and I'll be teaching them to you this weekend. Okay, I've got something else to ask. She needs to have her eyes open for this, eyes closed. Okay, close your eyes. I need to muscle check anything else in terms of Kathy for this healing modality. No. I need to check anything else that I need to be doing for Kathy. No. Okay. All right. Do some more? Yes. Need to direct the sound at this? No. Just keep doing more? Yes. Okay, she's not finished. Kathy, turn around. I'm afraid I'll lose myself in my house if I change.
I'm afraid I'll lose myself in my house if I change.
That's it. She needs anything else? No. This little session we've done is complete? Yes. No, move around? Anything in that?
No.
No?
Good. Feel great.
Great. So maybe, Kathy, now that frequency is shifted around deserving to be happy, and that you can contain your energy, and that you can keep yourself and your house, right, and change into a whole new way of being, that you'll find whole different ways now of doing this without dipping into these great reserves of your life force at too high an expense, too high a price. It could be that something else will begin to open up around that. Yes.
Yes. Now, does she have to remain conscious of that new belief system and affirm it regularly?
Kathy needs to remain conscious of this new belief system? No. She needs to affirm it? No. She needs any positive action? No. The positive action may be that she might need to do something. She doesn't need to. The frequencies shifted. She shifted this, she's shifted the energetics, she's shifted the point of view, the frequency, she's activating a different frequency, she'll create a different reality. The system's saying that's it, it's done. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And other people, they may need to. They may need to do something.
Yes.
Yes.
What happens then? Does other forces come in to relieve her of that necessity?
Well, she's got a field. She's her own field. And so she has certain energy frequencies that she resonated with that were creating an apple that looked like 7 days a week of work, and it's the only way I can keep my house, is to do this. And as you shift the frequencies and you create a different form here, which is she can have a house without killing herself. It's a different, she can have a house and be fully alive and do the work she loves, but it's not balanced to work 7 days a week. Repatterning on this horse. And so I did it, and it turned out it was the lung meridian, and it was on a spirit level. It was depressed. Can you imagine? This horse was depressed. And it had given up. It was resigned about living. And it was all because it had its foal was taken away from it, and then it was sold, and it just kind of gave up on life. So I did this little balance, and it turned out the healing modality was I had to go and stand on the very edge of the pond and do harmonic overtones, middle of Hawaii, Iowa, across the pond. So I'm very uninhibited, and whatever I must have got down to the pond, got right in the edge of the pond, started doing my harmonic overtones through all the Hawaiian hills, Iowan hills and across the pond. And then they were riding back, and as they came back, I said, I did the repatterning. And they said, yes, we know. I said, what do you mean you know? They said, well, halfway through, this horse changed. Halfway through the ride. The horse has never, ever gone over ditches or bridges. He started leading us across all the bridges and ditches. And this horse has never, ever gone along the pathway next to the pond. It will always refuse and take the long way home. This time it led us to the pathway right next to the pond. And it stopped lactating after that.
So the horse wasn't even in your presence?
No, you were riding it. Yeah, I was just sitting there with you. Yeah. So horses, they have wonderful, it was very sweet. A student of mine did this one, it was very beautiful. This thoroughbred Arabian horse had, this whole rump was torn from barbed wire. And the vet couldn't change the dressings. And so they put it in a field and just were hoping that it would just, get well. They got one dressing on it, but it wouldn't allow them to change it. And they put its brother horse into the field, another thoroughbred, and thought, well, we'll keep two of them company. So she came into the field and she does a repatterning on this horse, and it was fine. The horse calmed down, and the vet came and was able to put a dressing on the horse. It was stayed completely still, totally calm. And then the brother horse came up and was kind of fidgety. And she said she must check. Is something the matter? Yes. You want something? Yes. You want a session? Yes. So she gave a session to the brother horse. And it turned out the brother had been feeling very anxious about his sister. It's like, I've been so anxious. Is she going to be okay? It was all his issues about his sister. So he does a session on this horse, and she finishes these 2 sessions, and the horses came up and they put their cheeks on her cheek. And her husband clicked this photo, and here are these 2 horses with their little faces right next to her face. And they were just, just doing this. And I told her this story to a vet, and she said, yes, when horses do that, it's like they picked up that you've got a truth. She said, horses know when you have a truth. And they'll often come and put their faces on your face when you've got it right on. That's sweet. Yeah. So, anything else before we close? Yes.
Does this work on people who are totally skeptical?
Well, the man with the blood pressure, 210, he had to put his skepticism aside enough to come to the session. So the person always needs to ask for a session. I found I don't like doing sessions on people who've been given a birthday present. It's like they haven't. It's like, oh, I've got this birthday present. It's free. Okay, I'll go. And so I don't like doing that, because the first step in anyone's healing, self-healing, whatever it's about, is to ask for the session. When we ask for something, we open ourselves up for shifting our frequencies. And I've had to learn this the hard way. with family members, my mother. It's just, cut that one out. But of course, there are no secrets. She knows my frustration. Because I want to impose holographic repatterning on her. And I had to learn that I can't do that. She has to want. I said, oh, I'll do a treatment on you. She says, no, I don't want it. Then I get mad, and then I have to bounce on myself for getting mad at my mother. So, you can't, and I have to learn my own lessons, which is when someone asks for a session, they are open for that healing within themselves, their own healing. We don't do anything, it's just there's a log across the stream, and we're just pushing the log 2 inches. Then nature, the river, will move it out of the way. We don't have to move every stick and stone and log out of the way. But the person does have to want to have their logs and their sticks and stones moved out of the way.
When you do it with animals, you just check if there's appropriate care.
Yeah, you want the session, yes. I had a horse, that when I worked on one horse, and the woman, the riding stable, she said, oh great, would you work on that one, the other end of the paddock? She said, he kicks all the horses and is very upsetting and rebellious and adolescent, and we're having tremendous problems with him. And so I must say, this horse needs a session. Way on the other side of the paddock, the horse gallops over to the fence where I'm standing, puts his head over, and looks at me like this. So I said, you need some holographic repatterning? Yes. You need it with you. You want to have the session with me? No. So I said, okay, I won't do it on you. Horse takes his head off, walks off. Didn't want it. Didn't want it. It was her idea for him to have a session. And then I muscle checked that she needed to take the workshop, and she needs to work on him. And that's what he wanted. He didn't want me working on him. She wanted him. So, well, lovely talking with you, and I'll be seeing quite a few of you this weekend.
Maybe you should muscle check and see which people in here.
By the way, actually, I do. If there's anybody who has big doubts, who would like to come but is in doubt, after this is over, come up, because sometimes on muscle check, there's maybe certain unconscious patterns or energy constrictions that make you resonate with not coming. And what I find is as soon as you resonate with coming, you will know whether you're meant to come or not to come. So if there's anybody who's like sitting on that fence of, I want to, I did this and phoned up somebody in Flagstaff, and she said, I want to come, I've been waiting for a year, and I'm now feeling I shouldn't come. So I did it over the phone with her. And I said, let's get you strong for being energized by coming. And once you resonate with that, you will absolutely know the right thing for yourself. Because decisions, the best decisions come out of strength. Whenever you're off, weakened, don't resonate, whatever decision you make is wrong. You don't come, you regret it. You do come, and you're switched off. So we got her switched on, and it turned out she had to go to somebody in Flagstaff for a session. She phones me and said, a fabulous session, I'm not coming. Great, wonderful. But it's equally, she said, I'm coming. And I said, great, wonderful. So it's always, again, whatever is in the person's highest and best. Our job is simply to make sure that they resonate with the highest and best so that they can choose the highest and best. And it's not my highest and best. So it's wonderful. It really frees you up. So, lovely. If you have any questions, you're welcome to stay on afterwards and ask them. And is there anything you want to say before we end?
I don't know.
Lovely. Thank you.